Hello once again, friends. Apologies for my voice. I had a little bit of a crazy ass cold. It might have been the big one and all that. But anyways, here's a video. Checked out a new local comic shop, and what we're gonna do, as we usually do, is just go through the books. Once in a while, stop to showcase the art and give a little mini reviews. Um, yeah, if you're new to the channel, what I'm usually about is good art, good writing. So let's go ahead. So my MO is usually to start with the bargain bins and work our way up. See if you can find the stuff in bargain bins that are about the same condition but at a lesser price stuff. And also, it's a way to like try out new stuff. So here's an old war comic from Modern Comics. Our fighting forces in action. Again, apologies for my voice. Dang. Yeah, I just thought the art looked kind of cool on this. A little bit. Much. Let's see. Yeah, it looks kind of good. Yeah, this looks kind of neat. An issue of Axel and Pressbutton. Some UK weirdness. What do we got in here? Oh yeah, some early Steve Dillon, of course, from Preacher. His art was like much different back then. It's some kind of weird like indie sci-fi. I think there's like raunchy aspects to this too. Haven't really read it, but doesn't he have like a button that makes him like O or something like that? Yeah, not quite sure. Some other stuff here. Who do we got? Gary Leach. Is this all stuff from 2000 AD? It's a little bit more like adult oriented, right? Not rated R though, but a little edgy maybe. An issue, some Jack Kirby in the bargain bin. I think this was all like 50 cents back then, maybe 75. But I think I was getting like a bulk deal a little bit too. Seemed Mr. Miracle number 13. Yes. 70s Kirby. Let me know if I should just not do these, if my voice is so screwed. Anyway, putting the run of Nexus all together, it's an easy way to do it, doing it from the bins, right? From the bargain bins. So Nexus number 4, number 12, getting pretty nearly complete. Number 13, number 19, Steve Rudin, Mike Barron, of course. Let's just randomly look at some art here. Steve Root is pretty sick, man. Great illustrator. He makes it look easy, too. It's so, like, concise, his style. Really fun and dynamic. Number 27. Number 33. 43. 44. 45. Oh, so that's Badger. 56. You know the thing about my voice, I guess I could do that, Alec Baldwin. You call yourself a salesman, you son of a bitch. Put that coffee down. Number 60. Nexus. 61. A, always B, B, C, closing. Number 62. Free Comic Book Day is Nexus. I've never seen this one before. 2007. An issue of Masamune Shirao Orion, number 1. Let's take a quick little squiz. I guess this is kind of like science fantasy, more so than sci-fi. It's kind of interesting. It's pretty cool. This is like in really good shape. Issue of Shatter. Yeah, I decided to try this out, and I did like it. It's kind of good, like cyberpunk. I thought it would be like, like a cheap gimmick, or like nothing really beyond the gimmick, but it reads like William Gibson, like Neuromancer style kind of stuff, man. So I'm interested in looking for more of these after. Sisterhood of Steel, number 2. If you follow my channel, you know that I always like to put sets of these together. Pretty fun female sword and sorcery kind of stuff. Fun read. Sisterhood of Steel, number 3. Somerset Holmes, number 1. So we got some Bruce Jones here, right? And him doing the art too. I guess this shows that he was using photo reference, which is why he'd often have that like photorealistic style. Really realistic. If my voice is bugging you, by the way, just pretend that I'm an old blues man. I'll just even let it sound like even more hoarse like this or something, man. I just didn't want to like miss like a week or a month of content or anything. Yeah, apparently it might have been the big one, and now all of a sudden I'm an adult with like tons of intense allergies as a side effect of it or something. Annoying. So anyway, St. George number 9. The reason I picked this one out, I just flipped through it randomly because the cover looked cool, but I saw at the back it has this full page ad for Akira, the comic series when it was coming out from Epic. So even if I don't like this comic issue, I kind of have like a little Akira pin up for 50 cents. Vintage Tetsuo. Is this from issue number 3? I want to say maybe it is, man. Just trying to flex some memory banks if that is true. Anywho, Akira rules. Maybe my favorite. Ryuke is Stainless Steel Armadillo. So there's another like manga fantasy sword and sorcery stuff, but there is some nudity in here. But I just kind of like the art and like designs. The all the armor and like clothing and monsters looks cool. It just has like a good aesthetic. Pretty easy to read too. It being manga, you know, it's like not too dense with like narrative captions or anything. It just moves at a good pace. So I do like the series, piecing it together over the years. Syphons, number 1, by Marc Beachum and Allan Curtis. I think we had talked about this previously, but a lot of like risque drawings of ladies, the poses and stuff. I can't say no. 50 cents, man. That's some high art, you know. I don't know how he necessarily would have found, with these poses being like adult magazines or something. I don't necessarily think so, because even though they are very like provocative, they're like action poses also. Maybe dancer magazines or something. Maybe this is from like an adult magazine. Or he just has very good command of anatomy. This wouldn't be... I often thought like maybe it would be good to like record, say, Olympics or sports, just to get like cool poses and stuff, work on the gesture drawing, learn how to good contrapposto and stuff. But yeah, this guy's like pretty well skilled, man. So, even though this might seem trashy in a way, he's got some skills, man. Here's number 2. Did we find this previously? Maybe this is one that we showed in a previous video a bit. If it looks familiar, I'll stop. But yeah, you can see what he does quite a lot. And I like how he breaks the panels and has like interesting layouts. Good face too. A bit of like a Texiera feel. Jeez. What is this guy saying? All set. Ready, Kelly? Ready. It's kind of cool shit, man. Maybe I'm just a creep. Maybe a little of both. And lastly, from this little bargain section, Classic X-Men number 5, which unfortunately I stored improperly and it's got a big fold in it now. But yeah, good John Bolton backup Colossus story here. Some gut-wrenching stuff, man. Love and love's loss. And misunderstanding. Okay, to the dollar bins next, I think. Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, issue number 1. Pretty minty, so I thought I would try it out, right? And if I don't like it, easy enough to flip or something. Legends of the Dark Knight number 11. Some Doug Monk. I just want to call him Doug Moench. Let me just do that, alright? I'm just going to call him Doug Moench. It's cooler. Paul Gulacy, Terry Austin. So that's, number 11. Prey Part 1, Part 2. Again by the same team. Bermuda, number 1. I recently read these, and, they're alright. They're kind of for kids, adventure, lighthearted, but not really for me. The art is pretty sick, though, Art Adams-y. Not necessarily for me, but not bad. Other people might enjoy it more as far as the writing. The art is, good, though. Number 4. So these will be a flip. Dragon, Blood and Guts. Talked about this in a previous video. Kind of classic. Darker take on Savage Dragon early on with Jason Pearson art. I think he did the writing too. Lots of Easter eggs, a lot of John Woo references. So that's number 2. Edgar Allan Poe, The Fall of the House of Usher. Some Richard Corben here. You cannot go wrong with that. Damn, that art's so damn sick, man. Mandatory Corben in just about every video in it. Let's find maybe a page of interest, but there might be spoilers too. Something with an anchor on it to leave off on. You know there's going to be shocking moments in this, though. You can just know it. The Golem Walks Among Us. Tales from the Outerverse. Mike Mignola, Christopher Golden, Peter Bergting, and Michelle Madsen. So Michael Mignola, of course, Hellboy. Christopher Golden, I believe he wrote the old Hellboy book that the Golden Army Hellboy Part 2 movie was based on. And that's kind of the best Hellboy movie in my opinion. And even a good part of the whole series. Although I didn't like the whole I'm a freak, who would ever love me. That stuff was a bit I don't know why that was in there really. So I checked this out, The Golem Walks Among Us. And there's part 1, part 2 of 2. The problem I have a lot, it seems, with the Hellboy kind of universe for Mike Mignola, I love him when he's really on it, really at 100%. But other times it's just kind of just serviceable, kind of mediocre. And that's what I found with this series. And I love Michael Mignola, so I feel bad talking shit. But it's kind of that's the problem I have with a lot of that stuff is maybe it's spread too thin. I wish there was more quality rather than quantity. I feel oversaturated with stuff, and then I get kind of let down. I feel the art was very good, but it was kind of wasted on just not a bad story, but just serviceable, just kind of very disposable, to put it harshly. It's alright. Issue of Manor Black, number 1, by Cullen Bunn, Brian Hurt, Tyler Crook. I haven't read this, but, and another thing, man, this video is out after the Ed Piskor drama, and the Tyler Crook tweet, man, that put me off his work so bad. I was I never got so mad before, where I was I'm gonna ditch all this guy's comics out of my collection, man. But, maybe I'll cool down and just separate art from artists and stuff. I don't know. That's one reason why I don't even look at Twitter and shit. I don't even want to know about people's dumbass fucking thoughts and takes on stuff. Anyway, I haven't read this, but Cullen Bun's usually pretty good. And I did like what I read of Harrow County. So there's a different alternate cover of Man or Black. Sorry about getting into a little bit of controversy, but what am I gonna do? Just have no opinion at all. Like, just very briefly, I will be honest. I have to once in a while. Otherwise, what are we, right? I'll try to just speak from like not being of the world, though. Try to keep it pure. OMAC number 2. This is a good series. Bruce Jones. This is one of the. I've read like a handful of OMAC that was non-Kirby, and I like this one a lot. He's kind of like evil in it, the incarnation, and here he is like kind of taking on Las Vegas and just like destroying shit around there, taking on the army. It's pardon me. It's a fun series, man. I like this one. So this is kind of like putting together a second set, actually. Pit number 3. Yeah, for $1, I'll like put together Pit and check that out finally after all the years. Because back in the day, I'd really wanted to check out Pit as a Dale Keown Incredible Hulk fan, but then I kind of like lost track or whatever, or just kind of stopped reading superhero-y stuff at that time, except for like Savage Dragon and Spawn maybe. So number 3, number 4, not bad for the dollar bin. More from the dollar bin. Red Room, Ed Piskor. Since my voice is too messed up right now, I'm not even gonna like say more, cause it's just a shame to lose him. And I'd like to like throw mud, cause it's fucking annoying that it's kind of just gonna be like forgotten, like that what happened or whatever. He was nice to me online. He so maybe he's not necessarily a creep as they would say, right? Because he would like when I followed the cartoonist kayfabe and Ed Piskor, he like went through a bunch of my posts and liked a video I had of like like a thief and a homeless guy fighting, or sorry, the homeless thief fighting. It seemed that the person who caught him, which was like, I feel a bit trashy and stuff to record that, but it was a bad day, and it's a pretty enjoyable video. People do enjoy it, and he did too, which was kind of cool, man. Getting a like from somebody who's kind of like I look up to. So, I'll go into more of that another time, maybe. But rest in peace, Ed Piskor. Awesome. This is one of the only comics that I really was like super into from current comics, and it's not just from like a trashy lust for violence or anything. Like, it was very interesting writing that was pretty ruthless and like didn't pull punches or like have sympathy for or any kind of like preaching politically or anything. Like, to read these, you would be shocked and provoked, the way good art can and should probably do when it's not even having an agenda of provoking or any like political or moral agenda, but just exploratory in these aspects of like looking at humanity or society or technology. So yeah, this was one of the like only interesting fucking books coming out in the 2020s to me. Yeah. So a couple extra copies of these. Maybe this will be originally when all the drama coming out too. I was like, well, cool if you've seen it as a bad guy. Maybe I'll start to get more of those variants and stuff because all the value or whatever will crash for a while and he'll be like out of vogue. I was like, yeah, that'll be cool if like nobody wants him anymore. I'll just buy him up, and then this sine wave or pendulum swing in, like he'll be maybe the value will go up. I don't care though. I just like want them. So finding these $1 bin anyway. Red Room free comic book day. Yeah, I think I found like a couple of these in there. Not too bad, man. Rune, number 1, Barry Winston Smith. Always getting these. If you follow this channel, you know that. Tales from Harrow County, number 2. Elektra Saga, number 4. Reprinting the old Frank Miller Daredevil Elektra arc. Evangeline, number 7. If you follow my channel, I always get these too. Chuck Dixon, great kind of Mad Maxy futuristic action she's like a, what would she be? Kind of like a Jesuit soldier in the future, trying to fight injustice, not for religious purposes, but just for the purposes of justice, even. Eventually, number 8. This is cool to find, man. Yeah, so there's actually a couple of these from the $2 bin. But Faust, number 10, for $2, where are you ever going to find that? And this is like really minty. So shout out to this channel. I realized I actually forgot to shout them out at the beginning. They're called 204 Comics, but the reason I checked them out, they're actually at an opposite end of town for me. But, I just like finished work there 1 or 2 days. So I was like, I better spend like a good 3 or 4 hours looking around here. And yeah, pays off. Pays off to do that, man. I'm always like digging, exhausting myself trying to look through it obsessively. Any kind of collection to make sure I leave with like the very best of what I can. It even goes like, even the file sharing, remember like those kind of programs, you find like a good vein, a good source, and you're like, oh, I gotta like check everything out. Or like a good record bins or good bookstores or anything. You like want to leave with the very best. This looks sick as hell. So yeah, piecing together a second Faust set now. Uncanny X-Force number 10. Gam March, Laura, and other stories. I like Gam March's art a lot, so we'll check this out. I'm not sure what this is all about, but I'll give anything that he draws a try at this point. Tales from Harrow County number 1. I think this is a variant cover, but yeah, got number 1 and 2 there. Shaolin Cowboy, Cruel to Begin, number 6. I believe this is the most recent series, right? Maybe I should look inside here, actually. I'm so, like, out of the loop with the latest Shaolin Cowboy. Let's give it a quick look. We should, man. Deserve it. I wish he would, like, team up with Frank Miller again, man. But yeah, I've only read, like, the first couple series of these, so this looks like it has much more dialogue than the older issues, which is interesting. What the hell, man? Dude just draws, like, anything messed up and hard to draw. Continuing. Yeah, so that was like $2 and $3 bins. No. Uncanny X-Force number 2. Oh yeah, and lastly from this first visit, there was a set of Global Frequency number 1 to 12 by Warren Ellis, this is a different art team on each issue, but it's Warren Ellis writing for each of them. This is kind of like if X-Files met CSI, kind of like crime. What's it called? Methodical or something? What's the word? Anyways. Yeah, this is a great series, man. This is one of Warren Ellis' best, I'd say, that I've ever read. So, it's very, like, underrated, and it's very cyberpunk. The premise is basically, say the dark web or, like, the net, if it was actually used in a cool way, they can just link up people all around the world that have like different sets of skills, and they react to any kind of weird crisis. And the crises are based on Warren Ellis, of course. He always keeps up with like weird, like fringe, Fortean kind of paranormal or science news, and this is a lot of that kind of thing. So there's a lot of weird sci-fi based on real life in this, and like horror and technology, and this also, I think this is from like when is this from? I want to say the mid 2000s, because I remember this is like the first place you ever heard of parkour. One of the heroes in here has to like find a bomb, and they're called on by the Global Frequency Network to like, kind of race across rooftops and through the city to get to it because they're the only one able to be able to get to it on time. And that's just one issue. Each issue stands alone, and they're all like quite good, man. So this is a series I would recommend if you're into that kind of thing. Okay, continuing to the second visit, where of course doing the same thing, got about the same amount. I think um this all totals up to about like a short box, tightly fit. So um yeah, starting again the way I did is like bargain bins first, up to dollar bins, $2 bins, and then general back issue sets and stuff like that. So Conan #0 from Dark Horse, Kurt Busiek, Kerry Nord, Dave Stewart. I haven't read this, but good team. And if it's #0, they're probably going to be trying to like do their A game. Dark Horse Comics in this era too is like pretty decent. I don't know about lately, man. I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but a lot of their stuff lately doesn't look like stuff I'm like super into. But we'll see, man. Anyways, I saw this had a Michael William Kaluta cover. Never heard of this series, but it's called Corbo. This is #1. So we'll be checking this out. I don't think it's Michael William Kaluta on the interior, but that's enough to hook me for 50 cents or whatever. Brian K. Vaughan, Philip Bond, and Eduardo Prieto, The Escapists #1, with a Frank Miller cover, so that's enough to get me to check it out too. All those guys. Hawkworld #2, Ostrander and Tim Truman with Graham Nolan. So, yeah, I like that original Hawkworld miniseries a lot, so kind of on board to check out more and see where that storyline goes. Hell yeah. Just looking here a little bit. It was so sick when Tim Truman was drawing it, though, man, in that miniseries. Yeah, I'm like, I guess he's more on a writing duty on this, so still kind of excited, but not as, of course. Marvel's Greatest Comics. These, of course, maybe I'm getting these in like almost every video. They just reprint like old Kirby Fantastic Four, so rather than getting them for like hundreds or thousands of dollars, you could just get them for these and not feel too bad about just chucking them around and stuff. Leave them lying on the floor, fall asleep reading them or something, Keep it gangsta. Number 65. I think when does it stop being Kirby? Around like 80 something or 100 something. 71 for the reprints, 72. Mystery Incorporated, 1963. Book 1. Doug Moench, Paul Gulacy, and somebody, McGregor, Don McGregor, is it, or something? But I guess it's like a horror anthology, maybe? Nightmares, #1. I'm absolutely on board for that, man. I'll be interested to see like Gulacy do some horror and stuff. Looks very moody, kind of late 60s, early 70s horror movie style too. Kind of reminds me of that movie Let's Scare Jessica to Death a little bit at the moment. This may be a little bit older stuff. This looks pretty sick. We shall see. Looks very interesting. Here's an issue #2. Colors by Steve Oliff, later of Oleoptics fame. Color that previously mentioned Akira. Very satanic stuff. Let's go. It'll be interesting. And if it's not good, I like to be able to flip. I'm like the guy that'll have like that weird kind of stuff to trade and stuff at certain stores. Marvel Feature presents Red Sonja #3. So would this be the third appearance of Red Sonja in comics? This is really beat up, but it's cool to not have to pay like $10 or more dollars. Who's writing this? Is it Roy Thomas? Whoa, Bruce Jones, sick. Interesting. Cool. Timothy Truman, Scout #3. Finding a lot of these early Scout issues in bins, so we'll be giving them a try. Scout War Shaman #1. Shatter number 2. Yeah, because it was on the second visit. I was like, I want to read more of that. So, Army at Love number 5, by Rick Veitch and Gary Erskine. So this is kind of like entertaining to read. All the Rick Veitch stuff is really like kind of like nihilistic or something. It's like very, very raging against what would it be called, like confines of authority or institutions and stuff. So controversial like stuff here. Like the first issue has like people just like cheating on their loved ones and stuff, and they're the good guys. Not very based and Christian pilled in that regard. Cinder and Ash. I saw this Jerry Conway and Jose Luis Garcia Lopez doing what looks like a war action comic or something, and for mature readers, kind of interesting. We'll see what this is about, man. Looks like it might be pretty hardcore. This book 2, book 3. Oh, so missing the final. This is like a cool cover, right? Like Atomica, is that what it's called? I thought it might be, but I think this is just a variant cover for Crossed Out or Crossed Over or something. I'm not too interested in it, but a nice cover nonetheless. Yeah, I'll probably flip this, even though, because I'm only really into the cover. Crypt of Shadows, number 8. Some old Marvel horror here. Eros and Psyche by Maria Lovett. I've just been like kind of admiring her art from seeing like in catalogs and stuff, and kind of been interested to see what it's about. All the things she said, running through my head. Is that what this is like? I'm a serious shit, totally lost. Looks like, but maybe this is for like young girls or something rather than a grown-ass man. Let's see about that shit. The art looks good though. Maria Lovett. And again, it's like, these are minty. I guess these are from the dollar bins now. Yeah. So, I think these will be easy to like move around if I don't end up liking them. Aeropsyche number 3. Evangeline. This like special number 1. I always get these, man. This is the shit. Alan Moore's Hypothetical Lizard. So this is like a one-shot kind of, what's it called? Wordless horror story, by the looks of it. Big Elbow, you recently said you think Alan Moore is overrated on your channel, and I was like kind of happy to hear that. Nobody's really ever said that before, but I just think like sometimes it's like decent though, not necessarily great all the time. Maybe it's just hard for him to live up to Watchmen and V for Vendetta and that kind of stuff all the time. So it's kind of cool. Like, I guess he doesn't take himself like super serious though. Sometimes he's just doing stuff for fun. We'll see about this. Maybe he does take himself a lot serious though too, but I don't know. Kind of funny stories about him anyways. I don't really, who am I to, I don't fucking know shit. Anyway, Interface, James D. Hudnall, Paul Johnson. This looks like almost like a Sienkiewicz meets Kevin O'Neill kind of cover. Yeah, I'll just check out James D. Hudnall stuff. Do an epic, so it's like mature reader stuff for, you know, buck or whatever. This actually is this stuff from the 50-cent bins too. Still, I think it is actually. Cool. Jonah Hex, Two Gun Mojo. I've talked before. Joe Lansdale and Timothy Truman, good team together. Jonah Hex, a good character for them. Number 2 and number 4. Neil Gaiman's Lady Justice. I kind of dig these, man. I've been finding them in dollar bins, and like, I'm kind of just on board checking out all the Lady Justice I can at the moment. Let's check it out a little bit here. So the ink, like the what would be called the power of Lady Justice. She'll just like be able to possess women and give them like powers. When they are possessed by her, they can see through this blindfold. Of course, this lady here is like, I can walk, I can move around, I can dance and shit. You are no longer Janine Michelle Farrell. You are Lady Justice. Yeah, these are kind of fun. They're all often like kind of one-off stories, like a different character, righting a different wrong in each, and they're kind of like pulpy and like adulty, and yeah, kind of fun. Less fluffy than a lot of Neil Gaiman for me. There's almost him doing like kind of pulpy, like macho, uh, like exploitation, like female. There's always like nipples and shit showing and lots of cleavage and ass, but often the bad guy is like a a, a bad male, but it's not like preachy that they're just um like a satirical stereotype or anything. Or if they are, it's like kind of remember that Kill Bill, that guy that was like taking liberties in the hospital. Maybe it'll be like guys like that. So you don't feel like it's not really like too preachy. They're actually well even like better than that. Sorry to explain my limitations right now. But yeah, I kind of dig these a lot. So again, Man of the Atom by Warren Ellis and Derek Robertson. This is some like Marvel sci-fi or some. Oh no, wait, Acclaim. Um, yeah, is this like sci-fi superhero shit, but before Transmetropolitan or after? I'm not quite sure, but I'm on board. That team doing something like off the beaten path for them. Garth Ennis, Goran Suzuka, and Miroslav Miriva. Marjorie Finnegan, temporal criminal. So she's going through time, stealing stuff, pulling out fights and shit, and it's kind of like a comedy. But I saw that another store had this trade paperback for sale for like half price, and I was like, maybe I'll get it. But I'm glad I didn't because I checked it out in this, and like, again, man, when Garth Ennis is just doing straight up comedy, it's not really like what I dig it for. So didn't really dig this, but it's serviceable. Totally like 5 out of 10 or whatever. It's like not bad, not good to me. Mick Explains Mike Danger. Again, these like what are these techno comics or big entertainment? Kind of dig these too, from what I've seen. So giving them a shot, especially if they're in like $1.50 bins. That's number 2, number 3, and number 4. The one, number 1 from Rick Veitch, is it? Yeah. Again, just like why not? From Dollar Bin. Maria Lovett, Porcelain. Again, checking this kind of art out. Just on the strength of the art, I'll check it out. But for me, I always want stuff in my collection to have like good art and writing. It's kind of like I have to, or else my collection is just gonna get like way too big. And basically, the premise I have with my stuff is I'd like any of my best friends or myself to just kind of like be able to close their eyes and spin around and randomly point at like at a comic in a bin and be able to pull it out and for it to be good, and not like regret like randomly picking it out. Everything has to be like good, or else I'm just gonna run out of room. Really, kind of want like that Addams Family lifestyle. I've tried living Spartan before, but I'm more of a Baroque librarian, archivist, private art collection kind of guy. And I need like cool shit around me, kind of. But and to not have it take over, I have to like find that balance or whatever. Different for everybody, though. I'm not preaching or anything. Just saying like that's my method. This art does look good though, so we'll see. This looks like it's maybe more for like young adults. So Ragnarok by Walter Simonson. Last name is also Martin and Workman. So Walter Simonson, of course, one of the famous artists on Thor for a long time. And is this more like kind of hardcore? I see that it's like Ragnarok is is it Ragnarok or Gotterdammerung? The battle at the end of the world, right? Fuck, I hate this fucking clear Scotch tape. It's fucking the devil. But yeah, I see that it's called that, and it has like a skull Viking dude. So when I've seen this around in catalogs and shit, I was like, I want to see what that's about. So finding issue number 2, in dollar bins kind of cool because, you know, you don't always have to start from issue 1. A lot of the time that's just like the introduction and shit and just like act 1. So, yeah, finding random issues will kind of give you I think, a better indication of like where things are going. So I'll give that a whirl. Again, on the sword and sorcery kind of stuff. Red Sonja, volume 1, number 5. Yeah, not bad for. This is a dollar bin find again. Maybe a 75-cent bin actually. Yeah, cool. Still in the cheap stuff, man. But still like good quality to me. Rune number 3. Always putting these together. Some of the like compilation ones where you like put the big poster together of Rune. These are all flip overs of like other issues, but like I'm not interested in those, so I flipped them over to show these. Yeah, and like I'm gonna have like second sets of these, and it's like I'm not gonna try to gouge people on the prices. I know these are like dollar bin and bargain bin fodder, but I did like put in the work to dig them out and all that. But I'll probably when reselling a second set, I'll probably keep them like a low or like dollar even price for the homies or something. Just because this is a collection of all of them. That special edition that collects all of those little mini backup features. Saber number 1, Don McGregor and Paul Gulacy. I've always seen this in like 50-cent bins, but finally, in later years here, getting into Paul Gulacy, I'm like, I'll finally give it a shot. Scout War Shaman number 2. That'll go along with that number 1 that we had earlier. Let's check this out a little bit. It looks sick, man. It looks like very interesting anyway. Post-apocalypse shit is like such a good genre, man. Well, especially at this time when, there's no like retro campiness. This is like done in earnest of the era. So a lot of it's pretty good. Even when you find like obscure B-movie 80s or 70s, say VHS from America or Italy, they're often like sick. And there's like a brutality and like lack of rose-colored shades. That isn't like necessarily over-the-top cynical, but makes for interesting storytelling and suspense, right? There is like apocalyptic stuff nowadays too, of course, too. You got like Walking Dead or Last of Us and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, ramble on. Shatter number 3. Getting into more of these. Syphons number 3. Let's look at more of these. Don't you want to look inside a little more? Wouldn't you be mad at me if I didn't? It's cool to like draw that like latex or PVC too. Gotta respect the skills, man. Is there a page that doesn't have like a good anchor of like cheesecake? This is a page of just like males fighting though. That's odd. I don't like that direction he's going, man. Let's get back to more of that. More of this. It's almost like an X-Men kind of costume, isn't it? Kind of Jean Grey looking. I did read some of these too in a previous like haul. Previously finding them, and they were not bad. They weren't great, but I'd say they read better than a lot of like Image superhero stuff. Like just to put it like a certain gauge, I could use that. Okay, let's continue. Oh wait, let's look a little more. Why not? We're so close to the end. Such a, like, X-Men looking costume. You know the last page is gonna have, like, a sick pin-up or something, right? We're almost there, so... Damn, that's not as sick as the other ones, though, gotta say. I guess they're putting the team together at this point. I thought it would be raunchy here. Some old... This is reprinting, like, 1950s horror, right? From, like, Atlas. Tomb of Darkness, number 22. This is pretty fun, man. So, another thing about, like, you know, people talk about how the Marvel humor is, like, injected into everything nowadays. But, see, there's even a story, it looks like it's written and drawn by Stan Lee, a reprint. From, originally presented in Marvel Tales, number 113. But, yeah, you get that, that kind of, like, dialogue that, like, what do you call it? You know, that kind of, like, the jokey, kind of, like, comic relief, like, bite at the end, like, punchline. They were doing it even back then, man. So it's not like a new thing or like them being trendy. They kind of like set that trend. Love it or hate it. I don't think you can really deny that. Kind of got that like you know that Stan Lee way of like embellishing stuff with a little bit punchy, kind of like New Yorkish. Like, yeah, well, nuts to you, Buster. You need a fat lip or something like that kind of... I'm doing it, like, wrong, injustice, but, yeah, that's been, like, a part, I guess, since the beginning, man. It's interesting to check out these old reprints of 50s stuff, man. Because it's not even, like, EC style art, either. There's, like, a interest, or, unique feel to each artist. Another one by Stan Lee. Unless he was taking credit for, like, writing and art, but I think you could tell a lot of the time he was doing, like, there's a certain touch to his dialogue, man. Everything. Anyways, not to keep kissing ass. The Unsound by Cullen Bunn and Jack D. Cole, number 1. Yeah, I'll check it out if it's, like, number 2. Why not? Check it out, man. Number 3. No idea what it's like. World of Darkness. So this is that old role-playing campaign setting from like the mid-90s, late 90s. That looks so corny. I remember me and my friends we'd play D&D and we'd like make fun of the kids that were into World of Darkness. Excellent times. But what did you have? Like you had Werewolf, Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf, what's that shit called? The Apocalypse. So I guess it's a little like anthology where they're using those settings, but it's from 2021, 21. And yeah, shout out to the old California crew. Love for you guys forever. Finally played World of Darkness later, and it was pretty sick. What were we playing? Changeling. The World of Changeling. And the cool thing about World of Darkness is it just being dark. not a lot of happy endings necessarily that you can count on. So, yeah, interested to check this out. It looks like pretty good, art-wise and stuff, at a quick look. Chris Claremont and Sean Chen, The End, X-Men, Book 1, Dear Dreamers and Demons. The End, was that kind of like them doing final stories of like maybe the death or like how things would end in 2000s? Because, I mean, you had like Punisher at the end, and I think some others around maybe this time. What year is this? 2004. But yeah, thankfully it's not this awful art on the interior, however you feel about that artist. I think it's Greg Land is his name, but usually I'm not a fan. Not to talk shit, but I'm just like, whatever. It's just whatever to me. But Chris Claremont doing writing, and this looks like all like different characters I'm not familiar with in a far future, maybe. Chris Claremont's like the dude for X-Men, man. He's the guy who made them what they are, so I'll give him a shot, dude. Kind of Art Adamsy interiors by the looks of it. Okay, back going to the magazine section now. They have a magazine section that's like $2 per magazine, and yeah. So I guess this is a war anthology series featuring stories by Garth Ennis, Chris Burnham, Dan Abnett, and Phil Winslade. Some good names. Battle Action is number 2. Yeah, and a lot of the time these magazines are like, they're not for kids. Not to say there's gratuitous sex or violence, but they're just like more mature writing. Like, you can tell that you actually have to have like some IQ or pay attention to the writing. So it's good. That's Battle Action, book 3. Oh yeah, there was a bunch of like Conan Saga, which reprints the original Barry Windsor Smith Conan stuff in magazine size, right? Number 2. I guess somebody else grabbed number 1. Oh no, there's number 1. Cool. And number 2. Maybe I should go back and get more if I get the chance, because for $2 each of those, that'll be alright, probably. Cullen Bunn and Rodrigo Zayas, A Foulness in the Walls. Yeah, I can't say anything about this because I haven't read it yet, but, just some... Cullen Bunn's name. I'm just, like, trying random stuff by him right now because I liked Harrow County, what I read of it. Okay, getting towards, what is this, $2 bin now. Hellboy, Buster Olney Gets His Wish. Mike Mignola and Kevin Nolan. That should be a good as hell team. Should be, but as I said with Hellboy stuff, it seems like I'm only keeping like maybe 10% or 25% or less of all the Hellboy stuff I read. But here's one that you can definitely count on. Hellboy the Crooked Man. I'm so stoked to be able to find these in a $2 bin. Mike Mignola and Richard Corben. One of the best Hellboy stories, I'd say. At least out of the ones I've read. And I think I've probably only read like 25% of all of them or something, man. Maybe 20 or even 15 only. But Crooked Man is the shit. And I was even trying to like, I kept seeing at comic shows, this one guy who would have the set for like $40. And I already have it in trade paperback, but it's so good. I want it in the singles, and I would always like be humming and hawing about actually buying it at that price. But got number 1 of it, number 2, and number 3 for $2 each, so $6 instead of 40. Hell yeah, dude! I'm glad I waited. Oh, this series is so good, man. Appalachian mythology and mountain, like all that muck talk, skookum muck, and yeah, man. Highly recommended. Highly recommended this one. A copy of Lone Ranger and Tonto, putting together a set or maybe even a second set of these. Talked about this in like 1 or 2 videos back. Joe Lansdale and Timothy Truman. And doing like kick-ass, like way better Lone Ranger and Tonto than I could have imagined it could be. A copy of New Gods is in the regular back issues now, sections I think. For $3, hell yeah, dude. Jack Kirby New Gods. Nyx. Putting a set of these together too. I was never like really growing up into bad girl shit. I always thought it was like for suckers, but this is good, man. Good demonic kind of heavy metal stuff. Like a lot of that bad girl stuff or like horror demon action stuff. Like you feel kind of embarrassed when you're reading it. Like, oh man, I'm a dork I'm like a dumbass for reading this trash, but Nyx, I don't feel that way. It's actually like pretty good, pretty fun. And there's like good art and fine looking ladies and shit, man. It's kind of got all you want. Nice illustration. What is the name? I should give credit to this artist because I've showed his stuff a lot already. He's got skills, man. Marc Borstel, who did the cover. Giuseppe Mattione. Yeah, he's wicked too. Not the best. Like, I kind of like, maybe the earlier stuff is like less this teamy stuff, but like you don't find art this good in a lot of places. So putting this full set together, and then I'll evaluate the whole set at the end. If it's something I'll want to keep, I imagine it will be, but we'll see how it goes towards the end. Next, number 10. Again, this Giuseppe Mattione cover, I think. Pretty sick. Or Mattione. It's an I at the end, my bad. Pink Elephant, number 1. Yeah, shout out to the old book club, man. If you know, you know. You guys are my fucking fam, bro. For real. You guys rule, man. Miss you guys like crazy. When I saw this back in a catalog, I was like, that was actually when the book club was still going, and I was like, I gotta check that shit out. How wild is that? Unfortunately, the art in this, it being number 1, it doesn't start to get to this. It's more realistic, and then by the end is like this pink elephant universe opening up, and I can only see that based on like flipping through it, so I can't tell you like what if it's good or not, but just had to get it because shout out to the old book club, man. Love you guys for life, man, and even after. Lastly, Legend of the Goblin's Eye, number 2. Talked about issue 1 in the previous video. Kind of like the Rankin Bass Hobbit, Return of the King style fantasy, and even though the art is like looks like very outsider and like I really like it. What is the name? What is the definition of manga again? Which is like a derogatory term for comics in Japan. I think was the literal translation like irresponsible illustrations or irresponsible drawings or something. The best thing about this format or this medium comics is that it has like a DIY element, but it takes dedication. You can't just be some dumbass making a movie or whatever. But it has like, yeah, that, you know, when people were able to first create rock and roll, like, because they had like a guitar and an amp and the means to just like record themselves on a 4-track or something. That's a lot of this genre or this medium, and just because something doesn't look refined doesn't mean it doesn't have like heart and something unique to give you. So I do enjoy this, and I'll be looking for the others. But anywho, that does it for this video. Again, that's where it was 204 Comics. A lot of big fans from that side of town. I just only get to make it there like once or twice a year, it seems. But yeah, good deals, good deals. They also have a lot of keys, which is, I think is what people mostly go there for. But they got stuff for guys like me too, trying to dig through the bins to find like interesting art and writing, right? So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and smash like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. Yada yada yada. Love, love, love. Being self-deprecating, but you know it's true too. I need that stuff. You guys help me out so much. Oh please, help me, man. My children need wine. But I mean, thanks for watching, and any feedback or information or anything is always like welcome, because I love the knowledge base. Oh yeah, I previously miscredited this guy in the previous one. It's actually F. David Howell is the name. But yeah, thanks. See you in the next video, or hear from me in the comments and stuff. Okay, take care out there. Hope you find cool shit. Adios.